Hey everyone, welcome to Otaku Talk, or as I like to call this little segment right now, League of Otaku. We're going to be talking about the amazing chapter of One Piece that Oda left us off on. Not gonna lie to you, I'm dumb somehow. I actually thought that it was a 2 week hiatus for some reason, which honestly, Oda does that, does he not, Tyrant? He be
No,
doing
he
that. He
he
be like,
does
all right,
that.
here's some fire, here's a bomb. See y'all in like 2 weeks. Peace.
He does that all the time.
like,
Drops something
like
amazing. He's
all
like,
the
all right,
time. So
I ain't talking to
like,
nobody for
like
two
I thought it was
weeks.
intentional just to let us, yeah, exactly. I thought it was intentional just to let us like ruminate over it. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
so turns out no, false. The chapter is actually coming out this weekend. So I was like, fuck. We moved up a little bit early, but we're gonna be talking about the latest chapter. We're gonna be talking about predictions for next chapter, what like all the crazy things that are happening, what we think are gonna happen, and if we have some time, we'll talk about some things here or there about the series as a whole. But we're gonna try to stay like Wano centric, Wano arc centered. But we'll dabble outside of Wano, but those will be our main parameters. So like I said, it's me, your boy, your host, OD. My channel on YouTube is Otaku Talk. I talk about anime. I've been streaming and like YouTubing for I want to say about like coming up on 2 years now or 2 years. I forget, time flies. But yeah, man, I saw this chapter and I was like, I really have to talk to some other fans about this. And there are these two other great content creators that I've had the privilege of meeting on my time on YouTube. The Grand Shogun, hopefully he should be here. Hopefully he turns in. He might not. We're gonna hope he does. I think he's busy with family and stuff like that. And I have the homie over here, amazing reviews. If you haven't heard of him, please check him out. Does amazing videos. Tyrant King Kuma, go ahead and let them know about yourself.
Hey, thank you. Yep, Tyrant King Kuma on YouTube, pretty much everywhere on Twitch, TikTok, Instagram. It's Tyrant_King Kuma on Twitter because someone already has
Gotcha.
Tyrant King Kuma. I don't know why someone else has that name, but
I have to edit. I have to edit that on my. I think I totally put Tyrant King Kuma like no underscores. I gotta fix that up somewhere.
Oh no, it's fine.
I'll fix
It's
that in
fine.
the description.
All good. I've been doing. I was doing YouTube and Twitch, and I stopped doing Twitch because I was doing like One Piece YouTube stuff, and I was just streaming games on Twitch, and I did not have the time for both. So I was like, you know what, we're just gonna do YouTube, and if I get
I
back to
feel
Twitch,
that.
I'll get back to it at some point. I've been doing it for like probably a year and a half now.
Okay, that's what's up. That's what's up. All right. So yeah, let's dive into this. Let me see what I want to talk to about first. All right, so let's just start. Let's just basically chop it up. Let's talk about that last chapter, yo. I'll let you go first. What were your thoughts? What were the highlights for you? What are some questions you have? Let's just start there, and then I think we can go start. Easing it into the Joy Boy stuff. What exactly is Luffy? What exactly is going on with this fate stuff? And blah blah blah. Let's just start with the chapter itself.
Yeah, so like obviously like the ending's super hype, but I really loved pretty much everything that happens with Kaido. I absolutely love. So like the interaction that Kaido has with CP0 and how that
Mhm.
plays out, I absolutely loved. I was like, that was so clean. He's just like, all right, you know what's gonna happen, right? And CP0 is like, all right, I'll take it. I'm not going anywhere. Nothing's happening, so
Bro,
I
I
gotta
was
take it at this
talking.
point.
No, I was talking about that on the Grand Shogun was doing a live stream at the time, and at the time I had just read the chapter, and I was like, I have to talk to somebody. I have to talk to somebody, anybody, like right now. And then I was like, oh, Shogun's on bet, and I went on his like live stream, but like I think he does multiple streams because he was not like I don't think he wasn't getting back to like the stream. So I found out like if you go to his Discord, you just hop in the voice channel. So I just hopped in the voice channel. And we were just like chopping it up, bro. But I just remember being so excited. Like everyone did their thing like this chapter. Like you felt for Luffy, you felt for Kaido, you felt for the CP0 agent. Like I honestly came into this because I had like been spoiled a little bit, and I came in being like, screw this dude, because I heard the gist of what happened, but I still wanted to see what happened. And but if you're gonna do what he did, like that's the way to do it. Like I was telling like on Shogun's stream, like he's a soldier. Like this is what soldiers do. Like they fulfill the mission, and like that's that. Like it sucks to suck, but that's that. And like that's what he did. He resigned himself to his fate in that moment. You see that little head tilt he does, and then his partner does the same little like head tilt. Like he knew what was up, and I think that like brings up it makes that scene from 1042 a lot more when or no, it's not even 1042. No, is it this shot? No, it's 1042.
Just tip for
It's 1042.
when he's talking to
Yeah,
Drake.
when he gets stabbed by yeah, and he's like, I envy you. Like he just puts that into a whole new perspective.
Yeah, I remember when I saw it, I was like, you're gonna make me feel for the CP0 range, aren't you? Something's different about this. He's like there's like an idea of freedom. Yeah. And it's like, and I was wondering like why him? Because there was obviously the other CP0 agent that was just chilling, who like hadn't been in any fights, had just been watching from afar. I was like, why isn't he doing anything? Why is it just this CP0 agent, or at least these two that are kind of out in the field? No,
yo, facts though.
Hanging back.
Y'all got it. You got it. I'm rooting for you. Woo!
Like, no, I got stabbed. Now I gotta go fight Kaido. You just back there playing chess.
Yo.
Like, no, man, get out here.
Like, he just knew. And you know what? I have map like I said, there was a lot going on in this chapter. Outside of that, like one thing that drove me nutty, like if you saw my review, was when I was talking about like for Nami being like there's two people that like you don't expect to like make a spectacle of themselves in front of someone that can like nuke them, right? And that's like Usopp and Nami. Like they are very, very like they'll call you an idiot or like get mad at you if you do something to draw attention to yourself in front of like a massive force. And for her to literally run out, like I remember, was it I messaged several people. I might have messaged you like, hey, who was that like ran out? No, I think it was my friend Taco. But I was like, who was that? And like that was yelling at like Kaido, because I was reading it on the not the official scans yet, but he was like, someone says don't go out there, Yoi, and I was like, okay, that's Marco. But then I hear we can't let that oversized snake get away with lying like that, and I was like, yo, who's talking wild spicy like that?
Who's talking heavy out here?
I said, yo, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, who has the audacity? Who has the gall to do that? Like, and I was like, no way, is that Nami? Because I thought it was like a sword. At first I was like, is that Brook? Like the legs were kind of like slender, but I was like, no, that can't be. Luffy can't have lost. He's not dead. It's impossible. And I was just like, Nami, you're wild. And Kaido immediately shoots out. Like he's not even like. It was at this point that like you knew Kaido was about that action, because he immediately shoots.
Oh yeah, he was done.
Like a Boro Blast right at her. Luckily, like Marco blocks it. Which, by the way, is that a feat? Do you think like Marco is still fresh? Do you think Kaido was weaker? Do you think it doesn't really matter? Like full strength Marco, full strength Kaido, he would have blocked it. Weak, like it's just something.
I think he would have blocked
like,
it either way. I think Marco just has the stats. I mean, he's first division Whitebeard Pirates, so like I definitely think that's something he could block. And I mean, to be honest, everyone's blocked forward at this point. If Marco can't block it, then that'd be a problem. Because like that's been
okay. There we go.
A few people have hit Boro Breath, and so it's not as impressive to me to see someone like block it or like kind of defend against it. But I would expect Marco to be able to, especially flames. I think it kind of makes sense to me.
All right, exactly. I felt a similar way. I didn't like. There's certain things in the community. People like you see something and people that's the cool thing about One Piece, but also the frustrating thing about One Piece. People can like interpret things completely different ways, because people are like, yo, because he was able to block it, like Kaido's definitely tired. I was like, is he though? Is he though?
Like it's just everyone knows that Dragon Form Kaido is not the serious Kaido. That's let me do some tests and stuff. Let me just throw some things around. If he's in hyper, if he's in base, then yeah, he's fighting, but it's Dragon Form.
And he's kind of having a tantrum right now. No, like part of me is wondering like why he's doing that. Is he just like, screw this, F everything, my fight was ruined, I'm over it, I just want to like have a tantrum, destroy Wano, and like just impose my will on everyone? Or do you think this is part of like the whole, like he knows more than like we do as the reader, and he is trying to like incentivize, maybe he thinks like this will summon the Joy Boy?
I think he's still doing his plan, because like his initial plan was to kind of start a war to trigger everything. And I think what he was trying to do with Luffy was skip past the whole war part and just get to the triggering part. But since to him
Yeah.
it seemed like that didn't happen, he's like, all right, well, back to war, I guess. I guess we're
Back to
doing this
the
now. Everyone's
original.
dying.
Back to the original
Yeah.
plan.
So she's
Back
like,
to the
all right,
original
my
plan.
fight's ruined. Original plan. So he's like, I think it's a mixture of like anger and he's like, I'm gonna be bored for another 20 years.
Okay. What do you think is like? What do you think is the thing that like he had that like is only on Wano, that like he has to be on Wano? Why Wano is so important?
I think
I
Wano
have
is
my
part
own
of the
stuff. I want to
trigger.
hear you first.
I think Wano is part of the
Okay.
trigger because Sengoku said that every big name goes through Wano at some point. And with all like the Void Century has connections to Wano. Zunisha,
Okay.
Joy Boy have connections to Wano. And when you think about what Kaido knows, he should know things from being on the Rocks Pirates. And Rocks was constantly looking into like Void Century, Ancient Weapons, all that kind of stuff. He should have the information. So I think Kaido kind of has a few of the puzzle pieces that he has put together. So he's like, okay, so it has to be in Wano. There has to be a particular event that happens in Wano, and I need, X, Y, and Z pieces to fit in order for Joy Boy to arrive. So I think what he's been doing, he's kind of just been gathering everything to Wano, so that pretty much everyone that comes in, eventually he'll find Joy Boy, right? I mean, that's how Blackbeard found the Yami Yami no Mi, is that he waited for it. He pretty much waited for it to happen. So I feel like that's kind of what Kaido's been doing. And with the war, he's trying to kind of jumpstart that.
No, I definitely feel that. So like, I like that theory a lot. I like that idea a lot. That makes a lot of sense to me. I was thinking on top of that, I don't think it's the weapons. I think I had this conversation with you how like I've been frustrated because one of my big spiels, I haven't done it in a while, but one of my big things was I was convinced that liquor iron ore was going to have a major relevance in Wano. Like we found out about it in Dressrosa. We know that like they sell weapons. The whole reason the CP0 is here right now isn't because of this shit with like Luffy. It has nothing. They weren't even here like for Luffy. I think they were here because their the manufacturing plant on like Punk Hazard got jacked up, and also because Doflamingo is dead, they have to deal directly with Kaido now for their arms and weapons. So I thought like we were something with the liquor iron ore was gonna have a lot of relevance. On top of that, I thought we would have maybe revolutionaries here. Like I've been saying forever that there are a bunch of parties that might stop in Wano from like the revolutionaries, because they need they told us about the liquor iron ore in Dressrosa. Like there's a whole scene with Koala and who's the fish man, Hack.
Yes, heck.
Yeah. Like they were talking about it, and also I figured it would be a great like story point for Oda to also let them both find out simultaneously, like Luffy and whoever comes from the revolutionaries, about like the Sabo situation. So I thought that would tie up neatly in a bow. And then I figured, maybe some way, somehow, Moria might be here, because we know that either Moria and or Blackbeard, because we know Moria stopped by Blackbeard, found out his Smorna got killed. We have no clue what happened to Moria. Kind of want to just assume he's dead, but you can never assume these things. And everyone has to get through Wano. Wano has an important poneglyph, so why wouldn't Blackbeard stop by here? Also, there's a popular theory that he needs the best devil fruits of every type, and so the Goro Goro is like the best Paramecia, and then the Yami Yami is the best Logia. And so a lot of people were kind of trying to say that Kaido's dragon fruit, or as we know now the fish fruit, is like the best, or a great Zoan. So that was all happening, and now that we're here, I definitely don't see like any of that happening. But I still am very curious as to know why like Wano has been referred to as the land of gold, and we have never like seen any kind of like gold or references to gold, or like anything remotely like golden about Wano. So I'm wondering,
no
like
gold, no riches, like not really anything of the sort, to be honest.
So is it something that for them was as valuable as gold, because that's what I'm thinking at this point. But like, what could that be? I still want to know what the poneglyph that Law saw earlier was, because that wasn't the road poneglyph; it was a different one. So I'm curious about that. So yeah, man, it's nutty. It's nutty. Oda has really set us up. What do you think about all that?
I do think there's something with the land of gold in it being treasure, but I think there's an idea that one, it could be the swords. So basically, the swords of all the fallen samurai within that graveyard are basically the treasure of Wano,
Ooh,
being where like
okay.
Shushu was and like everything else is stored. And I also think it could have something to do with there being the entire closing of borders, because one of my theories is that Wano was very deeply involved in what happened 800 years ago during the Void Century. So the reason they closed off could be because basically they were invaded with not only like ancient weapons, but devil fruits, and basically people stole everything from Wano and basically raided Wano for everything it had. And so they were like, all right, cut it off. No one else is getting in here.
Absolutely.
It's like there's got to be something that happens to Wano in order for them to say, we need to stop talking with the rest of the world. We need to cut off from the rest of the world. And whatever happened, it was before devil fruits were prominent. So all of that happens within the 800 years. There has to be something that basically they just weren't prepared for. And they were like, we can't go back out.
Got you. All right. So I think we've beat around the bush enough. Let's get into the most crazy thing. What's going on with Luffy in that last panel, man? What's going on?
Right.
Drums of liberation, my guy. Drums of liberation, my guy.
What
Grin,
one thing
my
before
guy.
that?
We out here cheesing.
We out here cheesing. The victory box we got for Kaido, that took me by surprise, because I was like, normally like you see the loss, Luffy gets knocked down, he gets back up, and then like they just do it repeatedly, and then he's back up again. And then I saw the victory box and I was like, oh snap, Kaido walking away with the W here.
Bro, I love how Oda
different.
did it. I was sus the whole time, because Oda doesn't do anything without reason, and I was sus the whole time. I was like, why are we doing like victory stuff? Like, first of all, we had the chess pieces, and also, what was the point of that? That became super irrelevant.
It was just a numbers game to show shifting sides, but it was like, it doesn't really matter.
It didn't matter. It didn't matter at all. And then he kind of wanted us to feel like, okay, it's like he did a great job. Like, everyone had, I'm not gonna say everyone, you never know, but a lot of people have issues with, people dying, not dying, blah blah blah, yada yada, how people are defeated, what have you, right?
Yeah.
And so with this, it felt like stakes, and with each win, it was like, we're feeling like, oh my god, like, we just beat this person, we beat this person, we beat this person. Which, by the way, I do want to go back and talk about the Tobi Roppo fights. That's something I want to address.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm not gonna lie, I feel a certain type of way about some of them. But anyway, but like, just we're taking out pieces, picking out vital pieces, but like, it doesn't matter. Similar to like what they were doing with the Go board or Shoji board, like, if this one person is still on the board, if the king is still on the board, the game goes on.
Exactly.
And so like, that's kind of what happened. It's like, you took out all the pawns, you took out like all the pieces, you took out the queen, you even took out the king, but you only take out the supreme king. You know what I mean?
Yeah. and looking at it, it seems like that was kind of like a waste of time. But even like thinking about it now, I do like looking back on it, because they do a very good job of saying, okay, the Beast Pirates have like 30,000, the Alliance has 3,000. There's no way they win. And then they kind of do this back and forth numbers game where like the Beast Pirates lose thousands, the Samurai gain, and it's like back and forth. And it gives you the idea that, okay, these numbers don't matter because the Alliance is still going to win.
Yeah.
But then you have Kaido, where it's like, once Kaido gets past Luffy, it doesn't matter how many, you have behind that, because Kaido can just walk through that. So it kind of switches on itself, because you have this idea that, okay, the numbers don't matter because it's in the Alliance favor, when in reality the numbers don't matter because if you don't stop Kaido, everything else is gone.
Exactly. It was so like teeter-totter, because like they don't matter, but they really do matter, but they don't matter, but they kind of do. Also, it like what I really liked about the numbers was it kind of represents, there's one line, and I'm sure multiple anime have said it, but like there's definitely there's a line that goes, as long as our chances aren't 0%, or they're above 0%, or even if it's 1%, we have a chance, right?
Yeah.
And I always kind of love that line, because like technically that's true. Like no matter how much the odds are against you, like there's just like a slim chance, like things just align and things work out. And unless like, it's the same thing with life and opportunities. Like it's hard to do certain things, but like if an opportunity comes your way and you just say screw it and go for it, like it, like something amazing could happen. And that's kind of like what I think it fully encompasses the theme of what One Piece is. That like, go for it. Like you only have one life. Like this is your freedom. You're free to do whatever. Freely choose to like, to dare, to wonder, to dream, to adventure, to like find out.
Yeah.
It's like if you can have, if that 1% is you. Also like Basil Hawkins with his percentage, you know, his percent like has a 1% chance of survival. Maybe it was Luffy. Maybe this kind of was predicted by him. So I totally feel you on that.
But the smile, the drums.
Yes.
So initially,
Drums liberation.
I've always been in like the boat. I don't know if there are many people in this boat with me, but I've always been in the boat where I like the idea if Luffy wasn't Joy Boy. If Luffy was actually an outlier, and that some factor around him generates Joy Boy, but it wasn't just Luffy. And I think this would oddly fulfill both. Like, because I think the way we're going with this is that Luffy is a reincarnation, or like he's not Joy Boy, but a Joy Boy. And so I think that kind of feels both. I still feel a little bit salty if he turns out to just be Joy Boy, but yeah, what are you gonna say?
I'm gonna say this straight up. There is no way in hell, like, this is gonna be a situation where it's not Luffy anymore. Like, even if, I think the worst thing that can happen, and I'll get into that in a second, the most thing that can happen is it'll be a temporary possession. That for me is the absolute worst. Because if it's an actual like he's Joy Boy, I'd have to concede that, okay, I have major problems. But I have always wanted it to be like, the theme of One Piece is freedom and like you know, predestination versus, you know, what's the word? Predestination versus free will. And I always loved how Oda knew how to like stay within the bounds of inherited will, where it's not so much destiny, but you know, we inherit the will of others. Like one of my favorite animes of all time is Gurren Lagann. And literally at first you think it's just this happy-go-lucky action battle shonen, like whatever, but it's actually this massive allegory for like depression, anxiety, and the like human condition, and the condition to like to believe in yourselves, and keep trying, and even if you fail, like, you know, the next generation can like go upon what you've done, and you can just keep going till like you can do like the impossible, so you can like do what like those that came before you couldn't even imagine or fought for. And I kind of like that idea with like, that's who Luffy is. And yeah, like I love the fact that like, you know, his grandpa is the Marine hero, but he said screw the Marines, and like his father is this revolutionary, but he don't give a fuck about that. He just wants to do do his own thing. He shirks what anyone says of him, what anyone says he should be. He's gonna be his own person. He's gonna venture here. He's gonna go here. What? That place is too dangerous. I don't give a fuck. I want to go anyway. Like, I'm Monkey D. Goddamn Luffy. Ain't no one like me. Ain't no one gonna be like me.
Exactly.
And it kind of did get to me. The more we got the Roger comparisons and like blah blah blah, and I'm like, but like I never ever, because I hated what happened in Naruto. I didn't mind what happened in Yu Yu Hakusho, but that story didn't have the themes this one did. Was never a fan of Ichigo being like every Neapolitan ice cream, just every power. Yeah. But Luffy was always different. Oda was always different, and that's why I still have complete faith in him. People see this and are losing their minds, and they're like, if you hated what happened in Naruto and you're okay with this, you're a hypocrite. Yo, chill. This ain't the end. This is one chapter.
It's one panel, honestly. Like there's
one panel.
Way too early to.
You get nothing on this. Literally, he could stand up. Literally, next chapter, first panel, he could stand up and be like, "Whoa, I thought I almost died," and nothing happens, and I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. And Sonisha's talking to him, and Sonisha's all confused. Like, I thought you were. He's like, nope, it's just me. Like, I would not be surprised. We don't know anything yet, but I really did want it to be nothing more than like a title. I wanted it to be nothing more than when Nika said, "I will return, I will be back." It was supposed to be just an inherited will thing, and that guy had this grand dream of freedom, and Luffy has a similar dream of freedom, and therefore kind of accidentally just kind of inherited his will, and that's how Joy Boy will come back, because Joy Boy always figured there will always be people in this world that fight for freedom, and as long as those people exist, like, my will carry on, just like Chopper's doctor said, Dr. Hurlock said, like, person never dies until they're like forgotten. And like, I think there's gonna be like kind of a clever thing Oda does where Nika, like, he's called Nika Grin, but he's not like technically a person. It's the, like, how in One Piece, like, there are like the door fruit, and like certain fruits are concepts, not even like real things, just like concepts of something. Maybe it's the concept of a grin. The concept, that's why his name is Nika. The concept of a grin is just the like, how you, like, when they say like grit your teeth and bear it, like, you make a grin when you do that. You grin for multiple reasons, and like the concept of like grinning for Nika is just having that heart to like persevere and to smile and to keep going, and so Will of D members all have that will as well. Also, I'm hoping that there comes to the point where we find out that like you don't necessarily have to be like, I had a whole theory, I forgot like I was like messing with it, but like, you don't necessarily have to be a Will of D, but like it helps propagate it, like you keep it to like just keep that spirit flowing or something.
I think the Will of D is necessary, just because they made it a point to say that the Will of D is the natural enemy of the gods, and so
yes,
that I think the idea and the concept is that Joy Boy and maybe further incarnations of Joy Boy and Nika, those are all basically the opposition to the gods. So like, while they aren't all the same person, they probably all carry the same will, being the Will of D. And so I do think that, I think you have to have the Will of D, but I don't think just having the Will of D guarantees you will be a Joy Boy. I think that's just one of the pieces.
But there were like people like Odin that like seem very Will of D-ish. And there's like other characters that seem very Will of D-ish who don't have the D.
That's true. I think Odin's probably the biggest outlier for not being a D clan member, but still having a lot of the same characteristics.
What do you think D means? Because like, I one time just got out my phone and so just started jotting. I was like, demon, because demons are, I would assume, are demons or devils are the enemies of the gods. I said maybe it's dawn, maybe it's dusk, maybe it's dawn and dusk, maybe it's literally a symbol for a grin or a smile, maybe it's dreams or dream, dedication. Like, there's so many drink because of sake. Like, there's so many great D words it could be?
I I
Do
never
you think it's a
really
word or do you think it's a symbol? I feel like it's an
I
ancient symbol.
I think it's I think it's going to end up spelling something, but I've always thought that what it spells isn't necessarily the reason they'll have it. I think it's going to be a kanji for something. I think it's going to kind of be how
You say a
Raftel was
kanji?
originally. Yeah, like it's going to.
But the D is Romanized and everything. That's the tricky thing. It's Romanized.
But once you spell it out, it's going to be completely different. Like once you fully spell out the
Ah,
word, I think they're going to break that apart. Kind of. I think what's going to
okay.
happen is it's going to be a Raftel thing, where we kind of have an idea of what it is, and then we finally learn, oh, it's Laugh-Tail. Oh, it has kind of a meaning behind the meaning. I think that's what's going to happen with the Will of D.
Okay. Okay.
Because that's how
Whatever
Oda
it
likes to
is.
do things. That's how Oda
No, it
loves to
is.
do things.
Absolutely. 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 So back to Joy Boy. So what would your biggest disappointment be if like next chapter in regards to what's happening to Luffy?
If Joy Boy completely, if it's not like Luffy just inheriting Will, if it's like an actual reincarnation, like Joy Boy lives within Luffy or lives within the fruit and is now, hosted in Luffy's body. If there's like a different person kind of taking
Entity?
over Luffy,
Yeah,
yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that idea at
I
all.
agree.
It
I
defeats
absolutely agree. I
Luffy's
am
whole thing.
like the most I would want that I would be okay with. Literally, I've been like thinking about this whole time. It's Joy Boy. He comes down, does some crazy Avatar: The Last Airbender connecting to like his past lives shit, and like utilizes some like new crazy powers and shit we've never seen before. Because obviously we're gonna see something new. Obviously, like that last panel with the shit dripping and gooping down, which we're gonna talk about next. Like obviously we're gonna see something new. And so basically we get this kind of idea, but not quite, not full picture of like what Luffy will be able to do. And then there's going to be a part where like, because whatever Joy Boy did or whatever to restart Luffy's heart or whatever happened, Luffy like comes back and he's like, what the hell's going on kind of? And dude gives the whole spiel, and you know how Luffy doesn't give a fuck about stories and whatnot. He's like, I don't care. Like, get the out of my body.
Yeah, like that would be cool if there's a moment where Joy Boy is trying to take over and Luffy's just like, nah, you gotta go. I would be okay.
No,
with
he's
that.
like, yeah. Like if Joy Boy is like not being like a douche about it, but like he's like, hey, don't worry, like I'm here to like free the world and blah 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 yada yada. And Luffy's like, I don't care. I'm not a hero.
It's basically like a Sage of Six Paths moment, but he says no instead of taking it.
Yeah,
Like that's
yeah.
what I would go with.
That is the worst. That is the worst thing I would be okay. Worst thing I would be okay with. I would be okay with it. It would still bother me slightly because of the whole possession thing, but like that would be the worst thing. As long as like Luffy like establishes, I'm Luffy, I'm the main character, not you. Like, give me my body back. Thanks for teaching me some tricks, and maybe more about my devil fruit. More about my devil fruit. I didn't know I could use it like this. Bet I'm gonna take that, adapt that. I'm out.
That's definitely what I need, because I don't. The thing I always is like with Naruto. The thing I disliked is that it was such a build up for him to be a strong character, and then he kind of was gifted power, and I'm like, well, what was the point of the entire series then?
Neji
So
was
with
right. Neji was right. Neji was right.
he was right the whole time. I was like, what
The whole
was the
time.
point?
And it was proven by my favorite character getting bitched at the end, Rock Lee. Rock Lee
Oh
was
my
supposed to
gosh.
be like, Rock Lee's supposed to be like that every person who ever felt like they weren't talented, they weren't good at anything, but if they like put their head down, like grinded and like worked, like things will work out. That man did nothing at the end.
I mean, if you weren't Naruto Sasuke, you were doing nothing. That was basically how that worked.
Literally though. And like so many people, like it was really cool. The series was really cool because like anyone could be good, and it was all like strategy and whatnot. And then eventually just became you either have too much chakra or hacks.
That was it. And like I have enough faith in Oda to like it's not gonna be some kind of like god hex. Like he's not about to stand up and just one shot Kaido and then lift Onigashima with one arm and put it back where it's supposed to go.
Oh hell no.
Like it's not gonna be like that.
Hell no. Hell no. Hell no.
So I'm
Hell
not.
no. I was
I'm
kind
not
of
worried
hoping there'd
about
be a
it.
moment where he is. yeah, I was kind of hoping to be a moment where he's kind of like working Kaido, but like Luffy's pissed off about it, like his fight's being stolen, and that's how he kind of stops it. And then like it kind of equalizes it kind of, and that would be okay in the fandom because it equalizes the hit Luffy took, like Joy Boy getting some hits on Kaido. It would like equalize the free hit that Luffy took. By the time like Luffy's like, hey, stop this, like you're screwing my fight. Speaking of hacks and sorry, go ahead, finish your statement and then I'll go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say because I was thinking about the idea of making it equal, but I'm just like, Kaido's already like taken probably 3 times as much as Luffy's.
Bro, he had to fight
so
the Scabbards, had to fight the Supernovas, like fought the Scabbards, fought the Supernovas. Yeah, Yamato, like I've been saying that myself.
Man's been running a gauntlet.
So I actually, this is just something I wanted to ask you off the blue because I was thinking while we were talking about hacks, I have a friend, he loves One Piece, but he hates Haki. He hates the introduction of Haki. And I just real quick, I'll let you know mine, but I just want to know your thoughts on that. What are your, like, do you have a problem with, post time skip where it became like kind of Haki centric?
I don't have a problem. One of the things that I see a lot of criticism on, but that I actually really like about how One Piece kind of built its power system is that we don't know a lot in the beginning. And we don't know a lot because we start in a very weak sea that doesn't see a lot. We start in East Blue and people barely know about devil fruits there. People don't know about Haki there. They don't know about like the great pirates of the world. It's so secluded, so like you're not gonna have that info. And then once you like get into the real sea, you see like, okay, everybody has a devil fruit. Like we start seeing crews with multiple devil fruits, and it's like, okay, devil fruits are more serious here. And then you go time skip, and then everyone has Haki because you can't compete at this level if you don't have Haki. Like these are just the tools you need to keep going further ahead. So like the introduction of it, I'm completely fine with. I think the bigger issue is that when we kind of backpedal, and then we get the things where it's like, no, that person had Haki back then, they just didn't use it. Yeah, Crocodile, like Lucci.
Yeah,
like they all had Haki, and it's like, okay, but why didn't they use that?
So that becomes a problem with, and Oda's really good, so like I don't really care that much, but like that becomes a problem with trying to progress your story. Like my headcanon with Crocodile, for example, is he went to a weaker sea, kind of lost his edge, let his skills dull, similar to a lot of people that went back to like, the easier sea and all that. To this day, I'm not gonna lie though, one thing I can't get over is Shanks losing his arm, but we're not gonna get into that because but like that, it pisses me off. But personally, narratively, I understand. Here's my thing though. I tell my friend this all the time. I said it was necessary. It was always going to happen. Don't get me wrong. To this day, my favorite Luffy fights are like still like the like a lot of my favorite arcs and stuff are still pre-time skip, just because we're still learning about the world with him. We're still in wonder. We're still kids too. We're still like, what is this? What is this? What is this? What is that? Everything is still new and shocking and surprising to us.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, even though Oda still somehow gets us every blue moon, like with dinosaurs and stuff, like he still finds a way to like you like with One Piece, you get to a point in One Piece where you're like, okay, I've seen it all, and Oda's like,
no, you haven't.
No.
Have you seen snake dinosaurs?
Yeah, but that's my like. It had to happen, like with how OP Devil Fruits were. It would make no sense. Like I love Luffy, but there's no way Rubber is like competing with some of these Devil Fruits.
Yeah, because like you introduce smokers so early, and it's like, well, how do you beat
and
Smoker?
You can do anything, and then everyone's like, oh, that's lazy. Like he needs to find creative ways, bro. He's not gonna have a barrel of water handy for every enemy. He's not gonna have like Luffy's not like a genius fight. Like he's not a genius fighter. He's a fighting genius, but not a genius fighter. Like he doesn't like analyze and think things through. He's just, his combat is where it's at. He's not gonna figure out like, oh, I can like liquidize like Smoker. Like that's not who he is. That was never going to happen. And I like the fact that like this series is rewarding those with strong willpowers and tenacity and drive with a power system that revolves around that.
Yeah, and even with like the rollbacks, like it's not necessarily that big of a deal because we don't know what kind of level of Haki. Because we know Ace had Conqueror's Haki, but it didn't matter because he didn't know how to use it. He wasn't skilled in it. And we know that Ace was predominantly like he used his Devil Fruit for everything. That's one of the reasons why he lost to Blackbeard is because he was very reliant on his Devil Fruit, which means he's not going to put a whole lot into his Haki. So even if he has Haki, that doesn't mean he's proficient with it. Doesn't mean it's as good. He might not be able to vulcanize or do all the things we see people do with it. So just because they have it, and to be fair, ornament Haki and observation Haki can be learned by everybody. So even with that, it's not, it's not like a god-given gift. It's not like everyone had Conqueror's Haki and just didn't use it. Like they have the base forms. All the vice admirals have observation Haki. It's not that big a deal.
No, I agree. I totally agree. Which, by the way, fun thing. I like how you said not everyone has Conquerors. My friend hates certain things. I swear to God. I think it's just Haki that sets him off. He was like, everyone has Conquerors. It's like, that's not true. Just because we know a lot, it seems to you as the reader, everyone has Conquerors Haki. But you have to think in this massive world of like millions of people, like these core people have it. There's still probably the point whatever percent of people to have Conquerors Haki. It's still rare, and it makes sense that we know that we see so many in one place because obviously these people are driven to be conquerors.
Yeah,
so
like trying to see who's at the top, so we're gonna run into all the conquerors like that.
You're gonna run to the top. That's like going to like an NBA game and being like, man, everyone's tall. like
well,
that's not. You're at an NBA game.
What you expect? Yeah, and I think so. Like even with the amount of people we've run into, I think it's got to be like 30 or less people that have conquerors total that we've met in the story.
Wow, 30 is actually way more than I even thought. Really? Are we at 30?
Because I'm including like people who aren't alive anymore, so like people from the past that I think they were confirmed to have Conqueror's Haki. People who aren't pirates, like Dungeon Zhao has Conqueror's Haki, but he's not really doing anything anymore. He's just out there with it. I think 30 is probably generous, but like it's 30 of the cast of One Piece, where there's I think there's over 1,000 characters now, and that's like named characters, not to include just the people in the world. That's such a small number.
Absolutely. All right. So yeah, we talked about Joy Boy. We talked about candidates, resurrection. Something someone said I forget, it was a different YouTuber. Something very interesting that I saw was it's very cool how Sanji during his fight found out his power wasn't what he thought it was gonna be, and then Zoro is apparently like facing death, and that's kind of a combination of what Luffy's going through. So I remember in my notes putting that down there because like I thought that was interesting as well. Did you like that analogy or that correlation?
Sanji's power is not what he thought it would be.
Not what he thought initially. So because what we're finding out with Luffy being Joy Boy is, and apparently his fruit not being that Gumu Gumu, is his power isn't what he thought it was initially, which is the rubber. And with Sanji, like I think he always thought like his power was his passion and like stuff like that. And then we find out more about like him being a Burma.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And then we have the other flip side of the coin where like Zoro is confronting, Death the Grim Reaper, and like Luffy is maybe somewhat doing that himself, confronting Death.
Interesting. I hadn't really thought about that.
I don't know if that was intentional, if that's just one of the things where like One Piece fans are just being One Piece fans and like finding any sort of connection. But I thought that was cool.
I think that definitely sounds cool because you have basically they've been set up as the wings of the Pirate King, and if they're going through the same struggles that he is, I think that is a really cool parallel. I think the one that confuses me is that it's hard to make the connection with Zoro and Luffy because we haven't seen how either of their situations played out. I don't know what's happening with Zoro. I don't know what's happening with Luffy.
I'm so mad at the Zoro situation. Like Oda pisses me off so much sometimes because I'm like, stop. There's too many questions. Answer more answers before more questions because I still don't know what's going on with why we see the Grim Reaper. Then we're literally all thinking next chapter we're gonna find out. We don't find out at all, and then like I think either a chapter later or maybe it was that chapter we just see Frankie rescuing him, but no Reaper around. So I'm thinking it's all like mental. It might have something to do with the sword. I have no clue, but like. I was like, Oda,
with the sword,
stop.
but we got literally
Like,
no idea.
Oda, stop! You gotta balance out, like reveals and questions. I'm gonna start needing like 3 reveals for every question, bro.
It's never gonna happen.
He be doing 1 reveal, 10 more questions, and I'm just like, Oda, stop.
His reveals have questions in them. Like he reveals them and it's like, all right, I got 8 more questions now.
All right, let's move on down the list. What do you think? I'm stupid. I should have been doing timestamps with these fucking like topics. Anyway,
Ooh, that would inspire.
what are we at right now? We're at like, all right, we're pretty in here. What do you think is happening to Luffy right now? I'll read off my little like my little notes real quick. I just like literally after the chapter, I just immediately started writing down. I was like, oil resin, amber liquid rubber, elastomer, liquid cement. Because I remember back when I was a kid, we used to have like liquid rubber or whatever, like rubber glue or whatever the junk was. Yeah, bro. I used to use that like when my shoes got messed up. I was thinking like, this one sounds stupid, but it could randomly be it like freedom. It could be like the freedom fruit. Like I'm hearing a lot of theories about like, you know how the animals on that one Longland were tall and stuff. And the narrator said it was, or someone told us because they're free to grow how they want.
Yeah.
I said maybe the tenacity fruit because of like you know, once again, devil fruits a lot of times are concepts, and you know the concept of tenacity I can definitely see as being the ability to bounce back, being tenacious. And then I was like latex because I looked up rubber tree sap, and a majority of it is latex. So like what we could be doing with that. So yeah, I was just out here like, what, like I gotta figure this out. What do you think's going on?
So I like kind of making, I don't know if I would call them conspiracy theories, but like I like thinking things that wouldn't happen first. So I was like, what if it's just Luffy's just awakening his fruit? It's the gum fruit, silver fruit, and he's just awakening it. What if the fruit that the girls here are talking about is Yamato's fruit? Because Kaido said that he worked very hard to get that fruit, and that fruit is very important to basically the protection of Wano. And I was like, why did Kaido, of all people, go out of his way to go hunt down that fruit? Like, even taking his own out of account. Why that fruit? Why is that fruit so important? And I feel like we haven't gotten any answers to that. And I'm always kind of like on the idea that Oda is throwing a red herring at us. That he's like, okay, you think it's this, but guess what? It's not.
He
like,
does it all the time.
Like, I always have an idea in the back of my head that something like that's gonna happen. More centralized ideas. I think I align with the resin idea. I think I align with that the most, just because like I've seen a lot of people talk about it and like the properties of resin and how it can kind of change based on like how liquid it is or how solid it is. I think that fits most with how Luffy's been using his fruit before. Because with some of the other ideas, I'm like, it has to make sense for past Luffy. Like the stretching concept, the inertia concept, all of that has to make sense for this to go on. So like, for me, oil doesn't exactly make a lot of sense because oil is almost always viscous to some degree. You know, even if it's more stretchy, it doesn't just stretch out.
Can I just say, I'm gonna let you keep going. One thing I did find interesting about the whole oil thing is, why are Luffy's forms called gears? Because Oda likes to drop clues in some like very mundane things, but then also after that I was like, but why are Luffy's attacks all named after like guns and ballistics? So I'm wondering if that somehow fits in, because or if it's just how it is. But continue, but keep going. But I was wondering, like, that's the
Interesting.
only thing that gave oil any credence to me personally.
Hmm. I hadn't thought about that. The only thing I would think about with that is where does the animal scheme come into play?
Yo, exactly. So yeah, there we go. We got gears, we got ballistic weapon, like weapons and ballistics, and then we got
We got wild
animals.
animals.
So like, who the hell?
That's interesting.
Yeah,
I never thought about it
exactly.
like that. But yeah, my thing was always resin. Like as far as if it's Luffy, if his fruit is actually something different, I think for me resin makes the most sense. I haven't looked at every single other possibility, and I was kind of with this one. I was just rolling with it. I was like, I kind of want to just see what happens. Like as far as I have my ideas, I have my speculations, but like for this, because there's so many possibilities, I really just I want to see what Oda does. I want to see how surprised I can be by
No,
what he does
absolutely.
with this.
Absolutely. I'm gonna two points I want to touch on. First, this tripped me out. I watched the mini reverie, a little bit of it, and one of them talked about if it is resin, something really cool Luffy might be able to do is coat things.
Oh yeah, Randy was talking about that, wasn't he?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't really watch him that much, but I think it was him, and like the ability to just, and I was like, yo, that's actually kind of crazy. That would be wild. And then like maybe Luffy would be able to swim, because I do remember when he was in the bubble and when his arm went out, he was weak, but like he was able to fight underwater in the bubble,
Yeah.
just weak. And I was like, would this give him the ability? I was like, yo, okay. I was like,
That is
yo, that is
I remember I was like, that's
interesting.
interesting. And I was like,
That is
what
interesting.
other concepts could we get out of that? Because I was thinking about that, I was like, that's really interesting. I immediately thought, but why does Luffy need to swim?
Also,
And
like with Amber, well, I like the theory that the One Piece is in the sea, because you have to remember that why don't the Shank pirates have devil fruits? Because they say they don't want to lose their ability to swim. What's so important about swimming that none of Shanks's crew would want devil fruits?
hmm, interesting
Also,
concept.
I never read this story, but I think it was like Treasure Island or something like that. I think that's what it's called, right? And apparently the main villain in that dies by drowning, by like trying to like chase after like this treasure, and a lot of people think that's what's gonna happen to Blackbeard. Like he's gonna die by drowning, because he somebody said, what is one death that no one has had in the entire series that you would think would be very prominent in like a series like this, and we haven't seen anyone drown to death.
Hmm. That would be crazy if that's how he went. I would almost wonder if. Well, no. I was gonna say if he could do anything, but if, like, pretty much once he hits that water, he'd be stuck. And if
But
all of his
it would
crew
be
is hunting
really,
devil
yeah,
fruits, then they wouldn't be able to save him.
exactly. And also his crew doesn't care about him. It might be a situation where his crew could help him, and they're like not willing to do it because like their lives would be in jeopardy. Also, like I can also see it as like Luffy wouldn't risk it all for like whatever the One Piece is, or if something is in the water, or if it's or if someone threw it in the water to be chased after. I don't see, Luffy being that greedy that he feels the need to like chase after it or jump after it.
Yeah, and I think
So yeah,
one of the
yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
things about Luffy and the One Piece is that Luffy's core dream is to be the freest man in the world. It isn't necessarily to have the treasure that is the One Piece. It's just once you
Exactly.
find the One Piece, become Pirate King, you are the freest man in the world. That's the path to get there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
even if it's a treasure that can be obtained, which we have some kind of idea that it is like a tangible treasure, Luffy doesn't necessarily want the treasure itself. He wants that title and the freedom. That's what
Yeah.
he's going for.
That
So yeah,
comes with it. The
yeah,
peripherals. Yeah.
he's not going to be like Blackbeard would be, where like he wants like that tangible treasure. He's like, nah, I want the title. I want that freedom.
So, for the longest time, the theory was that if it's not a special Paramecia, of course, that it's a Logia, the Gamu Gamu, because unlike Prometheus, his entire body is the material. He's just not able to produce any of it. Recently, an abundance of people are saying, "Hey, could be Zoan." Other than like the Sun Wukong fruit, do you see any credence? Is there any possibility that the fruit could be a Zoan fruit?
No, I think Sun Wukong's the only thing. Basically, it would have to be a human model, and
But
again,
even
it
if it
has to
was
have
Sun
that.
Wukong, my problem with Sun Wukong is where does the stretching come from? Because
Yeah,
only the
like
power pole does that. Nami is closer to being Sun Wukong with her
she has
flying
Nimbus. She
Nimbus,
has
her her standing pole. She had the I said this in a video once. She has the clone thing she used in Alabasta when she made the mirages.
Yep, Mirage Tempo.
Yeah, so I'm just like,
It
what if he does have the Sun Wukong fruit? Where are the Sun Wukong abilities? Where what's the other thing? Where are the 3 transformations? That's the most confusing part.
Yeah, because it's I get the idea because I think it falls in line with the Momotaro legend where you have like Yamato, you have all these essentially animal motifs because you have the dog in Yamato, you have the dragon in Momo, you have the phoenix or the pheasant in Marco, and then you're supposed to have like the monkey in Luffy. But it's like the practical application doesn't make sense because it doesn't seem like it fits with his fruit or what he's been doing like the entire time.
Exactly.
Like it'd be dope, but I would just be confused.
So, no, I agree. And like I said, what's the forms? Like Gear 2 isn't like a form change. It's him pumping his heart. Gear 3 is him blowing air into his bones. Gear 3 is him inflating his muscles and then contracting and then compressing them with Haki. Like these aren't like internal forms. They're like combinations of things. Also, for the longest time, I was wondering how Snake Man worked, and I literally think it's either I always figured it was either because I think a Reddit post. It's either him using it's Geppo Skywalk.
Yes, Geppo Skywalk.
I think it's using Geppo, but with his hands instead of feet. And so you know how you just kick the air and you fly?
Yeah.
I think he just kicks the air and changes the trajectory of his. And I've seen little pictures where people have taken scan panels, and you see the places where the rubber bends.
Like the air kickoff. Yeah.
There's air clouds. And then my other theory was it was Samai Kicken, because remember I don't know if we're gonna have time. By the way, let me know when you're like reaching like okay, I gotta get off point because we are at an hour right now, so I don't know how long you want to go, but just let me know at any point. But
Yeah.
I wanted to see Samai kick on like with Who's Who, because Rob Lucci used it. I thought this was going to be kind of a mirror match kind of thing where we were going to see, okay, this guy was apparently as good as Rob Lucci, and I'm not going to lie to you, I was disappointed with that fight. I was disappointed with a lot of the Tobi Roppo fights. I was like, I feel like the height was misplaced. It was too fast. Maybe I underestimated the Straw Hats or I overestimated the Tobi Roppo. But like that annoyed me. But I was like, I'm still thinking that Samai Kicken, or as Chopper said, biofeedback is going to have some kind of relevance, because maybe I always thought maybe his awakening would interact with that, where people were able to use Samai Kicken, like Rob Lucci was able to like compress his hybrid forms to make his leopard more like faster, and then there are people who are able to control their hair with it, and then we often see people contorting their body size. Like I always thought that even though it is Haki being compressed, there is an application of Samai Kikan to it with him like transforming his body and like maintaining these certain shapes and stuff. And so I was wondering now that like if he's goopy now and can maybe make these constructs like maybe like Mr. Fantastic or something, turn his hand into a club or a mace or something. Maybe we get something like what we saw with Katakuri. Maybe he can completely freely control his rubber, like ridiculously, basically using whatever version he's gonna call of his Samai Kikan.
I think definitely with the comparison to Katakuri, I think that would be very in line because we were basically set to see Katakuri as like this version of Luffy that was a bit higher up the tier. Like he's got
Yeah.
similar properties, similar moveset. Basically, he's like the better Luffy, kinda. And that's kind of how that was made to play out. So if Luffy kind of turns into a version of Katakuri, I think that fits well with what we've been shown. I, as far as like the I don't know if we want to go directly into Tobi Roppo, but as far as like using CP0's techniques, I think there's always a solid application for those to be used. And
Yes.
because
We're seeing that more and more. We're seeing that more and more.
It's so useful. And it's honestly weird. I would have expected Sanji and possibly Robin to have more techniques like that.
I agree.
And we know
Totally
Sanji
agree.
has Skywalk, but I don't know. That's not crazy impressive to me. And his most recent thing where he's basically moving where people can't see him, I kind of feel like that's Geppo or just like
Soru, right?
Soru.
Yeah, exactly. But it's way faster, obviously.
Yeah, and it's like
I always thought he would use a kick form of what's it called, Shigan, the gun thing.
Oh, like a finger pistol, like a kick like that.
But like a foot cannon instead of a finger pistol, like a foot cannon.
Yeah, well, I was thinking that he'd do like what Rob Lucci would do, and like he would take the application of Shigan, and he would apply it to like his fingernails, so like flaming Shigan, where he shoots it off like a flaming kick for Sanji.
Exactly.
Like he really hasn't adapted any of those kind of abilities, which I don't. With how the German stuff is playing out, I don't think we're going to see any more Rokushiki going to Sanji. I think he's got Skywalk, and I think that's about it. And I don't think we're going to see it going to any other Straw Hats. I'm hoping we see more like Cypher Pull agents, and then we get to explore more that way. But I think that's the only way we're going to see more like Rokushiki stuff.
I think we'll see more from admirals. Admirals use Rokushiki sometimes.
Right? I think the only one like everyone uses is like Soru, like because I know, but it's like
it's not a native. It's not a native to. One thing I do know is everybody above like admiral or something knows all 6.
I think it's like because the vice admirals could use Geppu, they could use Soru.
I'm sorry, not admiral. Yeah, admiral's the highest, but like above
they could use Tekai.
Yeah,
they could use the Rokushiki techniques because they were all using them in Marineford like everywhere. So like it's in play. I honestly don't see a need for the admirals to use it because like I've seen Aokiji jump like 400 meters in the air and just be fine. He doesn't need Skywalk. He's jumping.
He doesn't need.
Like they don't need Iron Body, their Logias. Like they really don't need the techniques, which is why I don't think they use them. They probably know them and probably learn them at some point, but I don't think we're gonna see a huge application from them for most of those techniques. It would be really cool though.
So I think we kind of touched on this, but so it led up to this naturally. What do you think the awakening is? And this can be the same answer or 2 separate answers depending on how you feel. What do you think the awakening is, and what would you like the awakening to be? Like if you were writing it.
So I'd probably put it on because I think it's a new property of rubber. I'm not.
Well, I think of it as adhesive, right?
Like, not even just adhesive, but like because we've seen Luffy be able to heat himself up. So I'm wondering if this is just like an overall application of a heated up Luffy. So like he heats his entire body and it changes the malleability of his body. So instead of just being like entirely elastic, he becomes a bit more malleable. He can change forms, change shapes. And I think if there's an idea of like, Sun Wukong and like transformations, I think maybe a Gear 5th with like Sun Wukong type ideas. Like it's got that kind of transformation to it. He uses his awakening with the gears, and then that creates like a Sun Wukong transformation. So that's kind of how I see the awakening playing out here. And that's kind of how I'd want it to play out, I guess.
All right, cool. So I had originally before this chapter, I had a whole big Sun Wukong awakening or Gear 5 spiel ability. I thought basically, how he looks like with how he looks like a wisdom god now, I thought it was basically going to be. I like when mangaka do this, where like initially power-ups make the main character more like imposing and bigger, but then like the final power up is like condensed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kind of like Ichigo's Bankai and like other stuff like that. And so like, as you know how Bound Man and like Snake Man are kind of like huge. But what I originally thought before this was all happening and I saw the melting goop and all that was, instead of Luffy was going to compress the ever living mess out of himself. Like he was going to add mass and then just kind of like what he's doing in Gear 4, but it's like super compressed, and also he has more like heat control and like and once again I really wanted Samai Kikan to be like part of this, so he could freely and so because of how what you were talking about, the malleability, he could instantaneously with the temperature control, because we've seen somehow we still don't have an explanation how he can create fire, right? How he can create fire. Now now I'm thinking, you know, obviously it's more, you know, sun god Nika stuff, but who knows? But like able to heat himself up, make himself malleable, cool, rapidly change the temperature, harden, use like Samakikan to like add like spikes and or bulbs or whatever to his parts, and then he is able to move insanely fast. Because like when I say he is compressed, like you think Gear 4 looks like looks menacing. I'm talking about like when you see like a bodybuilder who has like no fat on them, and like you just see all the veins and
pure
all the
muscle.
muscles that are just like you just like Jesus Christ, like something like it's gonna look like he's gonna be so compacted and condensed that like he touches a wall just slowly, it like
There's
hole
just so
appears.
much force behind it.
Yes. That's what I was originally thinking, but that doesn't seem to be the direction we're in. We're goopy now, so
Goopy now. I like that idea though. That sounds really dope.
yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. Oh, all right. So, oh yeah. I did want to talk about the Tobi Roppo. Did you like those fights?
So, I like some, didn't like others. Whatever Ulti does, I love it because Ulti is one of my favorite characters and she's amazing. So, I love all of her fights. Everything she did in Wano, I think is 10 out of 10. I didn't.
Dude, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say I didn't care too much for Sasaki. I thought he was gonna be cooler, but they took him out really early, and it kind of drained some of my interest for him. Which kind of sucks because the fight was cool, like, and I like Frankie as a character too. So like the fight was cool, but I had lost interest by the time he got to it.
Okay.
I enjoyed the Who's Who Jinbei fight, but I think it leaned too much on kind of lore building, and it didn't really turn out to be a fight, so it kind of lost some steam. But I really liked
it was just literally
was
Jinbei getting annoyed. It was Jinbei getting annoyed and then one-shotting.
Yeah, I was like, well, because Who's Who was dominating before, and he's like, well, now he's just mad, and now Jinbei wins. I'm like, well, what?
Was he dominating though? Was he? Was he, or was Jinbei just kind of chilling?
I feel like he was getting solid hits in where Jinbei wasn't getting anything in. Like he was scratching up Jinbei a little bit.
Okay, I had the impression that like just Jinbei wasn't like just was cool.
It like, seemed like it was more of like at anything they'd be trading blows, but like there was no clear who's stronger, and at the end it was like, okay, Jinbei is clearly stronger.
Yeah, right, exactly. Like, clearly, like, it just seemed like when Jinbei was ready for the fight to be done, the fight was done.
Yeah,
that's what it seemed like to me.
I was like, no, because I was the most excited for Who's Who, because I love his design.
I was excited.
I like the mystery behind it. I was like, yes, let's see some Who's Who.
Do you remember when people thought he was Jin? Do you remember when people thought he was Jin?
They saw his shoes and they were like, oh, it's Jin. I was like, why? Why is that Jin?
am very. It does make me curious when he's gonna come back. I kind of want to do a YouTube series called like "Where Are They Now?" and like find
Oh,
and
that'd be
like
cool.
track down a bunch of my favorite characters, like Kohaku and Johnny. Where are they now?
Oh yeah. Last time I saw they were like buff on a boat, but that was about it.
Exactly. So I kind of want to do that with a bunch of characters. But okay, cool. But yeah, all my spiel about the survival fights, like the Black Maria one was cool too. It's just it seems weird to me. There's supposed to be these big wigs, and I haven't had a great like. This is me personally. Me personally, I haven't had a great Straw Hat showcase since Ennis Lobby. For me, that was the last great. Each Straw Hat gets to like flex, and we get to see like what they're all capable of. And like it's kind of just been Sanji, Luffy, and Zoro, and maybe every so often like maybe like Frankie or someone else. But like we haven't had like a okay Straw Hats all go out thing. And I was hoping this was gonna be like that in this lobby where they all got fights. Like I'm still kind of annoyed to this day that like that Usopp and Nami didn't really get their like ulti and page 1 fight that we kind of all thought was gonna happen. And then like also I kept thinking like we're gonna get awakenings and like Zone Awakenings, and because we saw like the what's it called, Impel Down. We saw the Impel Down guards, and I'm thinking, and we know that a key characteristics of Zoans are that they are that they're resilient, they're tenacious, they recover really quickly. And so I'm thinking, okay, we think that, and that's why I think originally when we were talking about like the victory things, I thought Oda was doing it so that like it's like victory, and then like all of a sudden like they get up, and it's like like it wasn't a victory, like because they got back up. I thought we were gonna get awakenings, but like as every chapter after the defeat, like as we kept getting more and more chapters, I was like, I don't think they're getting up. I don't think they're getting back up. They down.
I felt the same thing, because I was like, there's no way that they're gonna be out that fast. And
I said, I was like, what?
Yeah, it's like, what? Seriously? And at first I was like, I feel like I might be a little biased because I just want to see more ulti. Because I was like, I think she was one of the first ones that was down. And I was like, I love ulti so much. And I was like, she's not done yet. And then everyone else started going down. I was like, oh, okay, they're done. But I think this was kind of like people's hope for another Water 7 Nest Lobby type deal where everyone gets their own fight. And I think some people did shine in their own way. Like, I think the Black Mirror fight was pretty well.
I think Robin was. Robin's probably my favorite, like of the Tobi Roppo fights.
I think so too. I think that entire fight was. I think that was well done.
That was incredible.
I'm just not remembering that Brook was there, but I don't think he. I completely forgot that Brook was there.
Brook is the fodder killer. Like,
I mean, to be fair, Brook did everything in Whole Cake, so I'll give him a pass.
He did everything here too. Like he's been like us. He's been Brook every arc he's been involved in has somehow been like the secret carry.
He gets so much done. Like it's weird because he kind of does what Sanji used to do. Where like Sanji would kind of be in the background, handling like all the extra stuff, and then he'd show up at the end like everything was done. Like Brook does that now, and Sanji does more fighting, which I guess it's fine. But I liked that part of Sanji because I think that made him a cool character.
That's my friend. We used to fight because my friend is under the impression that Sanji and Zoro are the same strength, and like I hate getting into arguments with him because it kind of gets into like, can you prove God is real? Can you prove God isn't territory? Where it's like, well, can you prove he's not as strong? And I'm like, I feel you, like, because he brings up really valid points, because it's kind of, Oda does it intentionally, and it pisses me off. It's very weird because Oda does keeps it ambiguous, but like everyone it's kind of assumed and just felt like, I just feel it in my soul that Zoro is stronger.
Well, like, the thing is, because he keeps it, so he makes very deliberate points to make it ambiguous. But when he writes the actual story, I feel like he makes it pretty clear with how he sets up the fights.
I've said this verbatim. To my friend. Like, in the story, it's just clearly him, but like he does like there are these weird feats, there are these weird things that they say where it's like and my friends like everyone just sleeps on Sanji just because what you were saying, he does the like the grunt work, like the behind the scenes work. He's not supposed to be the fighter of the Straw Hats. He's the stealth, like the behind the scenes, even though honestly that's been kind of relegated to just like Brook does the dirt work, Robin does the like spy work now. So
Yeah, the stealth ops, like it's
Sanji's
like I don't
cook,
know.
bro.
He's,
I keep telling
he's
people
a
like
cook.
I know this is a weak excuse, but I'm like, man, he's the chef. Like, just be happy that like he's that strong and he's supposed to just cook.
I think there's a point that like, so Zoro wants to be the strongest at something. He's going to be insanely strong.
I say that too. I say that all the time. There's literally no way the guy that's gonna be like, ugh. Anyway, I digress. Let's start winding down. These are some good key points. How about this? I want to talk about the Zoro King fight. I want to talk about Odin and Yamato parallels and what decisions she'll make after Wano. Something that's been bothering me with Otama and the themes of freedom. And I think we can either end there, or I have something that I put aftermath. I don't really know what that means. I do know what it means. It meant the aftermath of Wano. So depending on how we feel. So
Gotcha.
The reason I wanted to talk about Zoro and King is I want to know if this is a me issue or if anyone else felt this. But something that bothered me about the Zoro fight is Zoro's whole spiel is he wants to be the greatest swordsman. He wants to be able to cut anything. And I do like the fact that it was kind of like an intelligence feat for him. Timing, like finding out about the fire, like on King's back and all that, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. And like timing it to know that like I slash when it's like off because his durability is down. But that bothered me because it's like, fuck his durability. Be stronger than his durability.
That's fair.
Like it bothered me because his whole spiel is like, I should be able to cut anything. And I would think that he would more so strive to cut him with the fire going than like finesse it like that.
That's fair.
Thoughts?
The way I see that is because he just got finished with Roof Piece. So he just got finished, tangling with Big Mom and Kaido. And he's on like his last legs. So one way I always see a Zoro fight, like he's not going to leave until he cuts through whatever he's fighting. That's kind of just how Zoro works. But in this case, it's kind of like, he's already done so much. At this point, he's not trying to surpass his limits. He's trying to basically support Luffy. He's like, I got to get you down so Luffy can focus. So like, that's kind of my viewpoint, is like, he's not really going for like, let me get stronger in this fight. He's like, I need to end this as quickly as possible because I only have a limited amount of time. Luffy has a limited amount of time. If I don't stop him, no one else is stopping him. I guess I gotta get this done. So that's kind of how I saw the King fight. I didn't really see it as like a spectacular feat. I didn't really see like a lot of growth or like that fight. I think it was just a fight that had to happen.
I feel you, because he was on his last legs, barely standing because of the medicine, but like I don't know, it just felt crazy to me because like Zoro's one of my top characters, like one of my favorites. And I was like, bro, your whole spiel, like if you fight Diamond Jozu, I want you to be like, I want to cut Diamond. Like,
yeah, that's the end goal, is I want to be able to cut through whatever I'm fighting.
Yeah, so just literally for me, I thought it was like, that's what it was. Like the moment it got introduced that like he becomes super durable with the flame, I was like, oh, bet. We gonna handle that. Show him how we do, Zoro. Show him how we do. Oh, you think you're uncuttable? But
nah, I got you.
But no. Odin Yamato. So what is Oda trying to tell us? Because my whole thing is like, I love Yamato. I want her to join the Straw Hats. I want her to leave. But story-wise, narrative-wise, I totally get her staying, because what you could easily say the mistake the mistake that Odin made was leaving Wano and then letting, the bad elements come in and screw everything up. But at the same time, once again, what's the theme of the story? Freedom.
Mm-hmm.
You should be free to do what you want. You shouldn't be beholden to others. At the end of the day, it's your life and you should live it. And if what he wanted to do was, if sometimes, there's a lot of philosophies in life and theories, and sometimes, people agree with like being hedonistic and not so utilitarian, where it's like you got to look out for yourself. You got to do what makes you happy, because that's what's the truest. That's what the most honest is. So can you actually fault Odin for following his dreams, for following Roger? So that's where I'm trying to figure out what Oda's going to do with Yamato's choice. Is she going to stay, support Momonosuke, support Wano, rebuild Wano? Like, her ability, like you said earlier, is important to protecting Wano. Or is she going to live her life and go on this journey? But at the same time, if she goes on the journey, she's still kind of following in Odin's footsteps. Like, it's weird. It's kind of weird. Like, what's the right choice here narratively? Or what would you like?
I would say that she's definitely, like, I would like for her to leave, and I think that's the choice of action here, because the entire thing with Odin is like, if Odin doesn't leave Wano when he does, basically the rest of the story doesn't happen, because no one's able to decipher poneglyphs, like no one's able to write messages. Odin is needed to kind of finish up Roger's journey, like that. He just needed that key element, and I think Yamato in a way is a key element to finishing Luffy's journey. Like, I would imagine that Momo has the rest of the scabbards, he's got retainers. I don't know if we'll end up seeing Zunisha's being forced to walk for eternity. That might get ended there. Now Zunisha's sort of at Wano, so maybe we'll have Wano and Zunisha paired up. Like, I think Momo will have enough backing him up to where we don't need Yamato there. Plus the fact that Yamato has been dying to leave Wano for 20 years. And it's like, there's no way that Yamato's like, all right, I'll stay. Now that I've met the people that are going to be king of the pirates.
She's been like in jail. She's been in jail in Wano. Like, I feel you on that.
She out of here.
I feel on that part.
I feel like if she stays, that completely defeats not only her purpose as a character, but her purpose for wanting to be Odin. Because it's like, none of that speaks to how Odin would act, and like, it doesn't speak to freedom, it doesn't speak to like any of the ideals, like it doesn't speak to any of that. It's just like, it almost sounds more like Momo, where he's like, we need to be safe, we need to be cautious. And it's like, that's not how Odin was, so that's not how Yamato should be.
A lot of people are saying they're a package deal now, so wherever Momo goes, she will. I don't know.
Please no.
I want Momo. I don't know about that. Yeah, everyone kind of, I don't know. I also feel like Kinemon's his protector, but whatever. Anyway, so here is something that is actually bothering me, and I feel like I'm the only person who's bothered by this. And that bothers me more. But Otama and the Dongos and controlling the gifters, man. I just feel like everyone's cool with it because we're the good guys, but that's some fucked up shit, man. And like,
it is.
And we are completely, like, in a story about freedom, we are robbing people of their freedom, and no one in the story has voiced a complaint or a concern about the morals and ethics of this, or like the violation of freedom. And it just seems like it's not even a plot point that's going to be addressed. Like, it's a thing that happened, and that's whatever. Like, yay, we got more the more of the war is on our side. And I'm like, are we really not going to talk about the theme conflict here?
I understand where you're coming from. The way I look at it. So one, a lot of the things that I see, like our side do, the pirate side, I always look at it through I'll say a pirate lens. Basically, the things we do are not going to be great. I should not expect pirates to do morally upstanding things. The fact that they do is, it's a different approach, but I should not always expect like the side of pirates to be morally upstanding. And so that's
Like
I kind of
when
get
Luffy
that.
let out everyone and impel down, for example.
Yeah, it's like that's terrible for the world, but you know, Luffy doesn't care about the world. He doesn't care about what's going to happen in some like that's one of the things about Luffy is that he's not an all-loving shonen protagonist. If he doesn't care about your kingdom, he doesn't care about your kingdom. He will not care if like Blackbeard goes in and destroys it. It's like, well, okay, what's that got to do with me?
Exactly.
So like the fact that Tom was doing this, I remember seeing the idea of like, one, it goes against like the concept of freedom, but also it just seems wrong, like morally wrong.
Yeah, it seems morally wrong. She probably sent a lot of people to their deaths.
Probably, and it's like the other side of it is like the people that are being controlled, they were
morally
already
bad,
being
but
controlled. Because like so when you're underneath Kaido, like if you're not the Tobi Roppo, if you're not the All Stars,
the headliners and stuff, yeah,
like even like those types of people, you're all being controlled by Kaido.
Yeah,
like you.
So would you rather be
work under him or you
Kaido
die? Yeah, and like they've already eaten like the devil fruits, so they've already pretty much gambled with their lives because like eating a smile fruit basically means a terrible gamble. You either get a crappy power, you can't feel emotion anymore, or like just nothing happens. And it's like you made that gamble because one, you fear Kaido and like, you're under his control. So like Tama's basically just taking the control from Kaido and taking it for herself. And so either way, you're being controlled. I guess I don't have a.
I like that. That's a fair point. That's a fair point I didn't think of. You're being controlled anyway.
And it's like it's still a weird way to look at it because like you're being controlled, which is it's not great. But I'm like I guess I don't have sympathy for you if you've already given up that freedom. Like you've already said enough. Like I don't care who controls me. I want to be under someone who's strong. So it's like okay, well, you got to deal with it now. You made your choice.
Fair enough. No, I feel that. That's real. That's deep. I feel that.
Like if it was like all the Zoans and stuff, like if it was just people, then I'd be like, nah, that's not cool. Like we gotta do something about that. But like there was
sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say just like it being specifically for like the gifters, I think there's a deeper point in that it's kind of like a theme.
My thing is I just want to know the point. Like I just want it to be addressed. Like that's all I want. I just want it to be addressed.
You would expect someone like Usopp or Chopper.
Yeah, that's I want someone to address it.
But I guess
I thought Oda was gonna do a whole thing with like how I thought he was setting up for this huge climax with like, for example, do you remember like every single Tobi Roppo fight, every single All-Star fight, like they did something in some way that like killed a bunch of their own allies or like hurt or injured a bunch of their own allies. And I thought that like Oda was building up to a thing where like they were just done. They were like, we are treated like shit. We are joining the like, we're gonna die anyway. So like, at least let's die like fighting like with some like some semblance of self-respect. Yeah, but no. Oh, speaking of joining the Straw Hats, you think Otama has a chance?
No.
Ace promised her, dude.
No, she can stay with Momo. She's part of the legend. She's part of the Wano legend, so she can stay in Wano.
Ace promised he would take Otama to sea, man. Luffy's got to kill it.
Ace got clapped. So, yeah, I don't know what to tell you. You're right.
Luffy's got to fulfill the promise. He's inheriting Ace's will too, man. He's got to take Otama.
What does she even do on the ship? The idea of having like
I agree.
A kid on the ship has always been weird because like people often
I didn't like Momo.
Like
everyone wanted Momo to go.
I was like, no, I don't.
Like no. I would prefer Otama over Momo, honestly though. But like me personally. But I like Otama. She's cool peoples.
I like them as characters. I don't want them to continue with us. I want them to stay here.
What about Carrot for one? I have no clue what's happening with her. I liked her too. I don't know. The community seems to not like her. I like her.
I don't dislike Carrot. I don't want her on the crew. I don't think she serves a functional purpose. A lot of people were saying that she could be like the not the ombudsman, that's Jinbei. She would be basically the lookout.
A lookout.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that for her. And her Sulong is fire, and you know she's still kind of a novice. She has, you know.
But what is she looking out for?
What? Is she looking out? You know, that was I feel like that was way funnier than you intended. But like that was, you know, what is she looking out for?
I mean, but what is she looking out for? What's the point of that? Like,
No, I feel you.
I don't understand what her purpose would be.
Zoro used to be up there. Who
He'd
else
be working
used to
out
be up there? Usopp.
You know that man
Usopp
can't
used to
see
be up
past
there.
the ship.
Oh no, I feel you. All right, let's wrap this up, buddy. This has been By the way, thank you so much once again for doing this. This has been a great stream.
Awesome.
Really wish Shogun has been here. This is great. We got to do this again more. So let's wrap this up with aftermath of Wano. What do you think happens after Wano? We can talk about. We forgot to bring it up earlier. We can talk about a little bit about like what's going on with like Sabo. Also, I love the fact I want to hear more about like your name is Tyrant King Kuma, so I assume you like that character. I assume that you're
Goat.
deep in the lore of that character, and you probably are one of the people that know the like. I have been researching the connection between that character and Joribani and Sorbet Kingdom and all that, so we can talk about that. I know that there's a lot of world government agents here right now. How are we going to take care of that? Are we going to have to flee Wano? Yeah, let's just spitball and then this will be the last of it.
Yeah, I think one of the easy ones, the world government, I think you're just going to get trunked out of here. Zunisha's just going to do a swipe and then they're out of here. I don't think
everyone and their mom is all that. I'm kind of annoyed Zunisha hasn't. I'm annoyed by two things right now. One, that Zunisha hasn't already like put out the fire. Like put out the damn fire, Zunisha. Like put out the fucking fire, Zunisha. And then two, how the fuck does no one see Onigashima right now?
I have been every chapter review. I'm like, people still haven't seen Onigashima. And it's like there was a point where like they threw the lanterns in the sky, and I'm like, okay, so the lanterns are gonna light up the sky, and then they'll see the giant island.
I feel like an idiot. Every video I have released, I have felt more and more stupid. Like, oh, the clouds parted. Everyone's gonna look up and see. No. Oh, they lit lanterns and set them up. Everyone's gonna see. No. Oh, a giant death nuke, laser beam, fired into the ground underneath. That like went through Onigashima, hit Wano underneath, hit the flower ground underneath. They're gonna see it. No one has seen.
They are really into that flower. Like the festival is just popping.
It is. They are fucking twerking. They are playing like
they are going.
They got Gucci. They got Gucci on the speakers. They got Gucci. Like
I was just like, I think I did like 3 different chapters.
Scott on that bit.
And I was just like, they've got to see it next chapter. It's got to happen.
Every chapter. I'm like, they're gonna see it. They're gonna look up. Like it's like the Netflix. It's like the Netflix show. Don't look up.
I think I got to the point where I was just like, instead of saying they're gonna see it next, I was like, and they, don't see it still. I'm moving on. Next part of the story. And it's like, I'm honestly wondering if it's gonna get to a point where they just don't see it. Like, do they not see the giant island? Do they not see the giant elephant over there? Like, are they?
I gave up the last straw. Yeah, the giant elephant. I didn't even mention. I forgot about I gave up after they didn't see Law and Kid's like awakenings.
Yeah.
Like, they don't want to see it. They don't want to see what's going on.
Permanently turned the other direction. They're never gonna look behind them. Never gonna know what's going on. And I'm like, if it ends up being where they just don't know what the Straw Hats did for them, which is like that's not uncommon. We've seen it before where the Straw Hats do something and then like they basically go unrecognized.
Not on this scale.
I feel like they have to know on this scale.
I've said this in all my videos. Every single major like toppling of a big boss and like returning of like a kingdom back to itself, everyone has to bear witness, because it's one thing to hear about it, it's another thing to see it One Piece is this big thing about kind of like globalization and what you were saying earlier, where like these people in this part of the world, because of it's the world government doing it, they're controlling information. That's why Morgan's is like right now like being pursued by them. They control what information, and also you have to ask yourself, in this world, what makes you a pirate? Like, how the fuck is Mihawk a pirate? And something I think makes you a pirate is being free. Like, I think that the world government is so threatened and so scared of people sharing information and knowledge and stories that the moment that you like go out and do something, you become a pirate. Because even like Fisher Tiger, and there was someone else who was just a merchant. There was a merchant, someone who started off as a merchant. He became a pirate because if you go to enough places and start chatting with enough people from this place and start telling them, hey, I saw this at this island, I saw this at this island, hey, that doesn't match up with what I heard, or hey, I was told that doesn't exist, you're a problem.
Yeah, you start talking too much, they'll take you out.
Yeah, so it's all about consolidation of like information and power and stuff. So yeah, that's why I was like, I don't know about that.
And I think that's how it should be. They should know. I'm just waiting for it to happen. Because I also thought when Queen got beat, I thought it was going to be like a Kumadori thing where Sanji basically hits Queen and he lands in the flower capital, and then they're like, wait a minute, what's going on? I don't know where Queen's at. Queen just went off flying somewhere. He's just
they all went flying somewhere. Which another thing is, I hate when Oda does things because he makes you paranoid, because he does everything he does, it has a purpose. So where are they flying to? Why are they flying there? Like, what's gonna happen? Like, how's it gonna factor in? Because like I said, every time the cloud spitter they flew lanterns, I thought that was Oda saying, okay, they're looking up. I thought that was Oda's way of saying, okay, they're gonna look up, they're gonna look up. And I was like, okay, it's not.
It's just not. Like, I'm waiting to see that payoff. I'm gonna be really interested to see how that turns around. As far as some of the other aftermath, I've been thinking about the whole Sabo Kuma thing for a while, because the idea that they got across was when they first set it up, Dragon was like, we need to declare war on the Celestial Dragons. And that's kind of the idea you get when they infiltrate for the Reverie, is that, okay, this is when they declare war. But when they talk like in the underground, they specifically mention that they're here to get Kuma back. So I'm like, is this not the time? Is this the time? Is it 2 in 1? Like, what's the plan here? So what I've been assuming is that it is a 2 in 1, and basically Kuma did what he did to not only save his kingdom, but basically to be a deep insider. So basically he's at Mary Joy, he's, at the Reverie. And what they do is, if they reinstate his mind, reinstate his conscious, that's an easily overpowering entity that they now have in the center of the Reverie. And if they want to declare war, that's a really good way to do it. Now, somewhere in that mix, somewhere in that mix, it seems like, because I think their whole goal was to either kill Cobra or to kill Vivi or to kill both. And I think they accomplished killing one of them. Some which way form, they ended up capturing Sabo. And I'm assuming that they're framing Sabo for killing one of the royalty. And they're like, the revolutionaries came to Mary Joy to declare war by killing a royal. And that's basically how they're framing that. And what I'm assuming is that at some point there's going to be another siege, and they're going to have Kuma and basically any of his knowledge. And I think we're going to start seeing more of Vegapunk, because he has deeper ties. We need to see. It's been so long. He has so much information.
Also, I'm one of those weird people that like the most obscure things I can't get out of my head. Just like I was telling you earlier about like the liquor iron ore. Yeah. I can't get out of my head what's that thing called? I keep wanting to say San Juan Bridge. I know it's not the San Juan Bridge, but like let me Google it. Something Wolf Bridge, Tequila Wolf Bridge.
Oh yes, the thing that Robin was on for a little bit.
Yeah, like they're all we know is that they're building a bridge to connect all these places. And it's like, what are they doing? Like, Oda just drops these weird things and hopes you forget about them. And I'm one of those people that's like, no, Oda, no. Even though it's like 5 years ago, I'm still wondering. But like, I'm like wondering if that fits in somehow. But I think you're right. That'd be really cool if maybe Vegapunk has like a hard drive somewhere with like a backup personality, like his original
Well,
personality, or there's like a code blocking his like emotions and stuff.
so there's a thing because when Frankie first fights with some of the pacifista, he mentions that one, they look exactly like Kuma, and that they're basically human. So he says they have to be some kind of relation to Kuma, because he basically says you can't just make a human, and he's like, at some degree these were humans that looked like Kuma, and so that kind of gets you the idea of a lineage. There's more to Kuma's family. There's also another person in the Revolutionaries who looks basically like Kuma. It's like a smaller version of Kuma that we always see, like,
Yeah.
he's just like in the shadows. They've never showed a name or anything. I want to see if I can find a picture of him.
I'm looking him up right now as you were talking.
But I'm wondering if he's basically that backup drive. And like, maybe if they're trying to reinstate Kuma, they use him as kind of leverage. Let me see.
I was thinking, if we had any time at all, because like it just doesn't seem like we have any time in the series to do anything like extravagant, because we still got to get to Elbaf, we still got to go to Laugh-Tale, and then whether Laugh-Tale is a combination or part of fighting the world government and fighting Blackbeard, we would still have to do that afterwards. And my thing is, like, I thought we were gonna get Impel Down Marineford 2.0, where this time it's successful because he fell last time, and this time he has his crew, and they save Sabo.
I wonder.
But I just feel like we don't have the time
for
for
SSG. Yeah, I don't think you have the time for that. There's so much that we have to like fit into.
Also, it would be
what time we
redundant.
have left.
It would be redundant. I don't think Oda would want to, like. I feel like it would be redundant. No.
I think to some degree, because I think what people are worried about here is that we're getting to a point where we're gonna do in this lobby again. Basically, someone's going to take Robin, and then we're going to have to get Robin back from the world government or whoever takes her. So people are like, okay, it seems like we might be getting to redundancy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because about everyone, but like that doesn't make sense, just because Robin is super important. Like, they're gonna keep trying to get Robin. Like, they should never have stopped actively trying to get Robin.
Which is crazy to think about, that they stopped trying to get Robin to go to Luffy. That's just how much bigger of a thing it is.
Yeah. But I don't know. It's still crazy that they, like, based upon everything we know and we keep continually learning, it's like you guys need to have squashed Luffy from the jump and should have put in significantly more effort to squash Luffy. And yes, he has gotten lucky. Like, for example, if Aokiji wasn't the one that met him that one time, he would have been done right then and there. He didn't run into anyone like Kizaru. He didn't run into like a Kainu at a time, because they would have deaded him.
Oh yeah, he would have.
Like, thank God it was an Aokiji. Yeah, but yeah, like the world government and Marines are looking kind of stupid to me right now, bro. Cause like you knew he had this fruit, and like you keep finding out, hey, he did this today. Hey, he did this today. Hey, he escaped Ennis Lobby and took this girl that can read the apocalypse. Hey, he broke in and out of Impel Down. Hey,
to be fair,
like,
they've been trying to kill him this whole time. Like they sent Aokiji. And like because they send these people that are like, you can definitely kill them. Like, they sent Aokiji's like, Aokiji can do it. And then he's like, I'm gonna let you go.
Wait,
and then they send Kuma.
I forget, refresh my memory. Did they send Aokiji for him?
Not for him specifically. Aokiji was doing his own kind of
That's my point. That's my point. It's like they need to have been like, hey yo, picked a random vice admiral and been like, get him.
But that's before Water 7. So that's when all he really did was topple Crocodile. And
yeah,
that's not like a huge like world threatening feat. basically
Yeah.
he took down a warlord that they didn't care about, that was doing evil things that they didn't care about. So they're like, all right, he did whatever. But Aokiji kind of says, okay, you're going to be a problem later on. And then he is a problem. And then everyone's like, okay, we need to make sure to take them out. And so, like, when they run up to him again in Thriller Bark, they're like, okay, kill them. Make sure they don't leave. And then Kuma's like, yeah, I bet, I got you. And then he doesn't do it. And they're like, okay, so what happened? Why did we not kill them?
What happened?
And then the same thing happens at Sabondi, where it's like, Kizaru, kill all of them. And he's like, all right, I got it. And then Kuma shows up and is like, nah, not today. And Kizaru's even like, okay, this is gonna be a problem. We got a problem here. And
yeah,
so like,
true. Okay.
once they actively start trying to kill Straw Hats, they keep being stopped by their own people, pretty much.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, yeah, no, I do see that. That is coming back. Because it just kind of feels, sometimes it just feels like they just like,
It's like, we'll get to it. And they're like,
to be
oh,
fair-
we should have got
to
to
be fair, the whole time skip, they thought they were gone. They were the fake Straw Hats and all that.
Yeah, and even then they were like, okay, so send some people to look up these fake Straw Hats and see if they're the real deal.
Something I heard in the mini reverie was that people think this was going to be a very different like arc ending than the others, where we're not going to have time to celebrate. It's going to be one of those things where we have to get the out. We got to go. You think that's the case? Because I don't feel that way, because weren't we told specifically that like who didn't someone say they wanted to talk to Zoro at the sword graveyard?
I think Gukimaru said that he needs to come
Yeah,
back to the
so
Sword
like
Graveyard.
so like we can't dip after, right?
I think they'll have time. I mean, for the most part, the only threat is the Big Mom pirates, who, for all we know, might still be trying to get up the waterfall.
Oh my
the world
god!
government.
How did we go all video without talking about them?
Because
Yeah,
we don't
dude,
need to talk
that's
about them. They haven't done anything.
yeah, yeah, it's crazy how like AFK they've been.
They just like, and that was another thing where it's like, because Big Mom fell off Onigashima, I think 2-3 times. And I was like, okay, this is when the pirates step in, because they catch her, then they all get up together, and it's all fun.
Yeah.
She gets back up herself. And so I'm like, okay, well, I guess they'll just be out of the story until the end. And that's
Yeah, I
another
guess,
component
that's kind
for getting like rid of the world government, is that maybe the Big Mom Pirates does it if
Mom
Zunisha
Pirates
doesn't.
do it. I said
Yeah.
I was thinking that as well. Besides Zunisha and all that, there's a lot that could happen with Zunisha. Either Zunisha could, I was thinking like maybe the hole that got blown in Onigashima, she can fit her trunk. He or she can fit her trunk through, or she can grab Onigashima so it doesn't fall. I'm surprised that hasn't happened yet. Maybe she could evacuate Wano, and maybe Wano becomes the new city on top of like.
Oh, it's like
Zunisha's
it takes
back.
over Zao. Oh,
Because we do know that you know the Minks and the pirates have like a really tight knit connection.
yeah, like predates a lot of things. It goes way back.
Yeah.
I would wonder what happens to. Well, I guess the thing is, Zunisha won't do anything until Momo gives a command. So Zunisha is going to approach, and then Zunisha is going
I'm
to
trying to
stand
understand
there.
what that's about too, because it can't be a Joy Boy thing. It has to be, once again, with the Minks and Samurai. It has to be, why specifically Momo? Is he one of the weapons? Is he? But how do we know it's Mo? Like,
The biggest thing I have is that he's one of the sovereign that Madame Shirley saw. So basically, they first saw Shirahoshi being born, and they foresaw another sovereign being born around this time. And so I'm assuming that's Momo. And I'm assuming that's why Momo has the ability to command Zunisha. It's because he's one of the sovereign. Just like Shirahoshi can command Sea Kings, he can command Zunisha. Why? I don't know. That's the closest
you can
connection.
command things because he's Poseidon, or
Right.
no, Neptune, or no, sorry,
she's
Poseidon.
Poseidon, yeah.
Yeah. But like that would mean he would have to be, if he was able to do something on that level.
it would essentially
Because
make him
also
earnest.
everyone's still wondering about those in the what's it called? Not the Bermuda Triangle. What's that place called?
Floridian Triangle?
The
The
Floridian Triangle.
giant
Like
people.
maybe he can command all those whatever's in there.
Huh. I I keep remembering and forgetting about them because they showed up once and then just never again.
Bro, that's all of what so many things to show at once, and
Yeah.
it like could possibly be game changing.
And I was like, I know
That's
it's gonna
that's
come
why.
back, but how many more
But
years?
there's so many other things we gotta track. There's so many things we gotta track.
Man, there's so much. There's so much. And so like that's one of the things with like the theories is that I really love is that there's almost an endless possibility to what you can think of with One Piece.
That's what I love about One Piece because it's written so well. If it wasn't written as well as it was, you couldn't do this.
Exactly.
You literally could like what I always describe One Piece as feel like an organic piece of work that even when chapters aren't being released, like someone like Tekking, for example, has proven that. Like you could write a dissertation on One Piece because it is a living, breathing piece of work where like even when there's no chapters coming out or like a chapter's coming out but it's not about something, you can imagine the gears turning and like what's happening in the background. Like while stuff is happening in Wano, I can imagine, I feel like the whatever pirates are here, whatever is here. I don't know where these people are right now. The cover story helps a lot with doing that, but like you can kind of place where people are based upon their motivations and the story and the world building.
Yeah, it's like
Like what's happening in the world.
the world is alive outside of like the main characters. Like when you follow a lot of other
Exactly.
stories, it's like if it's not happening where the main character is, then it's just not happening.
It's not happening.
Yeah.
Exactly. I can't tell you what's happening in the Cloud Village right now, or like what they're probably doing, or like
Yeah.
what's happening, like the politics of like none of that, because it hasn't delved into that. But like,
it just doesn't feel it.
yeah. So anyway, I say we wind it up. I'm getting tired. We are up at 2 hours. That was
I
crazy.
think that's a perfect amount.
Let us. I'll let you sign out first. Give whatever closing statements you want to say. Give if you got a closing statement. If you got like a special theory that like you want to get out there. Drop your channels and other stuff. And also I was gonna do this in the beginning. We can do this at the end. Leave your favorite anime or manga, and if it's One Piece, your next favorite.
Okay, that's fair. Let me see. Closing statements. So there's just one thing is that I really want a strong Kaido backstory. If I could get anything from the West of Wano, I want a strong Kaido backstory. I think that'll tie everything together. But honestly, I've been enjoying Wano so far. Like, I've been reading One Piece since 2000. So like,
Okay.
I'm kind of at the point where when I read One Piece, a lot of it is me being there for the ride. Like, I do get part of the hype, I do get part of the excitement, but at the end of the day, when I read One Piece, I'm happy to read One Piece. Like it's just
Yes.
cool. So like I'm probably gonna be happy with how Wano ends. I don't know if it's gonna sit at the top of like my favorite arcs. I think, like you said earlier, pre-time skip really holds a lot of my heart.
It's not.
So
I'll tell you right now. It's not.
yeah,
Yeah, I can tell you right now it's not
like
for me. But
yeah, you can find me on YouTube, Kuma, and I don't really do socials, but like I said, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all that stuff, same name. If there's
you
one
said
thing,
there's an underscore, right?
yeah. So Twitter is Tyrant_King Kuma, and
There we
if it's
go.
not that, then there's an underscore somewhere in there. But I'm pretty sure that's where it's at.
All right,
but ulti supremacy. I think that's what I'll end on, because we love ulti.
All right. Ulti supremacy. All right, and thank you guys for tuning in. This has been Otaku Talk. I'm your host OD. Yeah, I like what he said. I was gonna mention something about when you were talking about the Kaido backstory. It reminded me of something, but I remember my closing statement now. I think that One Piece will be at its. I love what you said, by the way, about being here for the journey. Like, just like Luffy, I like that's how I feel. Like, I'm here for like the journey, and like the end isn't necessarily what's important. Like, I'm really enjoying this ride, and that's why, like, you know, I love Skypiea. I've been learning recently, you know, Reddit, it's not the end all be all, but it's been annoying because I've been finding out people are skipping Skypiea or like hating on Skypiea. But like that's what shows you like what the story is about, and that it's about the adventure. And like Oda wanted to get that out the way because, you know, the politics and stuff is coming in now. But my closing statement is I think One Piece, the best of One Piece isn't going to be when it's over. That's not when One Piece will be its best. I think One Piece is an odyssey that's meant to be enjoyed on the second read through. And when I say the second read through, I'm talking about like after its completion. Because when you go back and you get to like with the knowledge you have, start
just the entire experience. Yeah.
Connecting with everything you now know. You start to feel like Riley now. Like right now we're like Luffy, but when we reread it, we're gonna be like reading it like from a Riley perspective of like
exactly.
Oh my god. And I look forward to that so much.
Same. And the other thing you mentioned, my favorite series. So I always put One Piece on top there because there's just so much that One Piece does for me as a series that I can't put anything above it. If One Piece was taken out of the equation, Three Gatsu no Lion is one of the greatest pieces of fiction that has ever existed. I love it so much.
What?
Three Gatsu no Lion, which it translates to March comes in like a lion.
Oh, I've heard of. Oh no, okay, got you.
I've heard about absolutely that. Love that.
I've been meaning to. All right, cool. And I forgot to give mine. Actually, no, I didn't. I said it earlier in the stream, but I'll say it again. Gurren Lagann. Guys, yes. Trust me. Watch it the first time and just enjoy it for what it is. But then like go back with like the open mind and start thinking about like just how it tackles like depression, anxiety, the human condition, the will to live, the will to like it has inherited will also, and just like humanity just building upon each other to like make a brighter future. And that's the point, because a lot of times in life we're like, what's the point, why bother? And it's because even if it's not for you and you alone, you are still putting upon like the building blocks for a better tomorrow for humanity as a whole and stuff like that. So I don't know, man, that jaunt tripped me out. It's so good. I love it. Favorite. I named my soul. I'm a sole proprietorship now, but if I blow up and do the LLC thing, right now my business, quote unquote, is Kamina Studios, after like one of the characters in the series. I named it after him. So like that's my guy. Nice. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. And thank you for being here, Tyrant King.
Absolutely.
All right, signing out.